Hey there, folks! Welcome back to another part of my thing where I am making a Tetris data extractor. Well, Amazon came through for me and I got all my new equipment, so hopefully this turns out well. Today is refactoring day. We've spent too much time on tests. It was necessary to spend time on tests, but now that we've spent time on the tests, and we've got them sort of working. You know, there were a few oddities, but we want to refactor the entire, not change the algorithm per se, but refactor the code that implements the algorithm to make things a little bit simpler and put more configuration into the hands of the user via the settings, instead of hard coding it into the code. And so my thought is, well, we'll get into it. I guess first we need to boot this up. Okay, let's do this. So hopefully my green screen is working. I got this gigantic piece of thing that maybe I'll show now on screen. And it's professional grade, so we'll see if that works. Oh, I forgot to turn my green screen back on. There we go. Okay, so here we are. Let's do this. So the problem is I had originally did this algorithm, and my original intent was that the program itself would be a little more intelligent than what I think it needed to be, ended up needing to be. But the initial idea was that it could look at a Tetris screen and sort of figure out the coordinates based on a set of canonical coordinates. So for an emulator screenshot, look at these coordinates, and if your screenshot that you supplied me was of a different size, I'm going to calculate the new coordinates to look at based on the original canonical screenshot. But I think that's a little too complicated. And because we need to end up fine-tuning these values, I think we'll just let the user configure where on the screen for their particular screenshot the data lies. And so right in it, we've got, this opens up right into our data extractor where the magic begins to happen. And I want to remove all of this. This was my earlier attempt at trying to figure out how many columns of text you can fit on a Tetris, the screen, the Nintendo screen, based on the Tetris font. And then I was going to do something like, get me the digit at, row 14, column 6. And it was going to, magically go there and everything was going to be fine. But it didn't quite work out. The reality is a little more finicky than the ideal that was inside of my head at the beginning. And that's okay. But this means we can start removing some of these things and making things simpler. The big thing I really hate, every programmer, when they look at their code, there's a part of their code that they hate looking at because it's so gross. Unless you're a programming god. But his name is Linus Torvald, and he's a big fat jerk and doesn't like anybody. So I'd rather be a worse programmer and be actually likable. Okay, what am I looking at? I'm trying to show you the thing that I hate. The tests, the tools. Oh yeah, the digit reader. Yeah, this garbage here. I mean, it's not garbage, but actually this is fine. This is fine. No. We start in the Tetris data extractor. And then when we get these things, right, get value at the screen reader. This thing. This thing I don't like. I don't like this one bit. We pass in the X and Y value. What's the X and Y value? Okay, the XY position of the pixel. Okay, well that's fine. But then we also pass in the character width and the character height. Like that's supposed to be a thing. And the number of digits. But it's a little bit, I mean, yeah, a lot of that stuff is needed, but I think we can clean this up. And so in this session, we are going to refactor this. But because we're going to refactor this, we're going to be smart about it and make a branch so that we don't lose our code as it is. So what's my status here? I'm fine, I'm on the master branch. Do I have any other branches on here? I have integration tests, which I merged into my master branch. So we can go ahead and delete that. Integration tests. Oh, because I still haven't set up my aliases. Boom, that's deleted. So let's check out a new branch. Check out the refactoring data extractor. There we go. Now we're on a brand new branch. Whatever we do, we can't lose anything. Okay, let's do this. I want to start in the data extractor, and I want to start deleting things. Because frankly, I don't care about the number of columns and the number of rows. Once I delete that, then I'm going to look for red squiggly lines. You can see one right here. And it's in the score? No, it's in the here. And this is like, dude, I can't, I need that because I need the digit width and the height. Now, the reason we needed a digit width and a height because I didn't quite know what to do. I was trying to make it a bit more smarter, but actually, why did I need the digit width and the height? Yeah, I don't even think we need that. All I want to say is, hey, this is where you'll find the level digit of this X coordinate and this Y coordinate, and it's 2 digit. That's why, because I wanted to say it's 2 digits, but I think now we need to have a box. We need the left, top, and bottom right boxes. And that is going to determine the character width and the character height. That's a bit more of a significant change, but it will let us bound our digits better, and we're not relying on this digit. Yeah. Because the digit width and the height I was getting from the reduced width and height of the actual screenshot itself. And it's like, we don't need to do all that. So I'm going to get rid of this. Bye. The full height of the screenshot and the full width. You know what? This is unnecessary too. The full height was the actual height of the screenshot, and the reduced height and width was when I was taking away all the black pixels from around the edges. This was to intelligently use my program to figure out where to find things. I don't need that either. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to reduce the image anymore. So this is getting better. My screen information model is simply has a single property on it called positions. Okay. So I think what is going to happen, yeah. I think we're going to keep screen information model as a class, even though all of this is going away. Screen positions, screen information model. I would just use the screen positions class instead of the screen information model, since it's only one property in that class. But I'm kind of hesitant to do that because I might want to shove some more stuff in there. So let's just keep that around for now. Let's go back. Why isn't my back button working? Whatever. Okay, so now that we've done that, now everything's gonna start complaining. It's gonna like be, I don't know what a digit width is on the information model, and that's fine. Look at all these red squiggly lines that we've created now. It was just too much. We're going to supply this information as the user in our configuration, so we don't need to throw this. So this is our interface for getting the value. This isn't needed. So what we're going to do is we're going to say top x1. You know what? We're just going to, hold on. I believe there is a class. There used to be a class in old libraries for 2D graphics called like a box or a rectangle. I wonder if there's a similar one for C#. Look at this, rectangle. Maybe I knew that already. So this defines a rectangle on the screen. And we give it a, oh yeah, I seem to recall, maybe in the early videos in this series, I looked at this a little bit. This is a rectangle, and I've got a top, left, right, bottom. I've got a height. Oh, I see. Height and width are set. Top, right, left, and bottom. They just have getters, so you can't actually set them, which is good. Intersects with, that's a powerful method. Anyway, okay, that's fine. So we're, instead of passing in an int and an x here, come on. We're going to pass in a rectangle. Rectangle position. Rectangle, that's fine. So, and we still need the number of digits, I think. What's wrong? Oh, I think we still need the number of digits simply because, you know, if I give you a rectangle and don't tell you how many digits are in there, the program's not really going to know what to do. Because we do have to chop up the rectangle into, you know, the amount of digits that are in there. So if we're looking at the level, we're only going to say, hey, this box, it contains 2 digits. But if we're looking at the score, we're going to pass it a rectangle, and say, look, this thing contains 6 digits. And there's nothing inherently about the size of the rectangle that's going to determine how many digits are. And that's what the old thing did, which I was trying to get it to do. But this is the way it's going to work now. So, okay. Before we go back to the data extractor and start changing all of these things, let's actually go to the implementation of our screen reader. And it's going to be complaining that we don't have this awesome new method. So we're just going to change this method, rectangle position, and the number of digits, and this nonsense. So the first thing we were doing is we're getting the full width of the rectangle. We don't need to do that. We have that right here in the rectangle. We actually have it. Boom. The crop area. What were we doing? Oh yeah, we're using rectangle here. Why was I... This is half the battle. Trying to figure out what your code did that you wrote 4 months ago. The crop area is simply X, Y, and the character height, which we would have passed in. We don't need this. This is simply the rectangle. This is simply the rectangle. So, actually, that's a great idea. This is called, we called it crop area. No, we'll be fine. Position. So we're taking the rectangle, which is the position. Wait a second. What did I do? Did I crop area? Oh, that's why. What does this clone method do? Okay, so the clone method, you see, I have to remember all this. Okay, so the clone method, this is the area, this is the screenshot, the full thing, and then this is just the rectangle that you want to clone. And it gives you that. So the rectangle I want to clone is my position rectangle. This is fine. Position. That's a terrible name though. Position. What? It's the position, but it's the digit bounding box. You know what? Yeah, let's call it bounding box. Bounding box. Digit bounding box? I don't know. That looks fine. Let's go back to our interface and rename this bounding box. It's a little more explicit, and I might change that name later on. But okay, so we've got our full width, which we don't need. We've got our sub-image and our final number. Now we're going through each of the columns. Now, the width of the bounding, so we need to know the character, the width of the character, and that's what this is. We were passing it in explicitly before, but now we can figure this out very simply by going, so character width equals the bounding box dot width. Now width is an integer, and we are going to divide by number of digits. Now with integer arithmetic, if there's decimal places, then it's going to throw them out, and I don't think we want to throw them out just yet. Actually, that's okay. Wait a second. No. Because this is only one operation. We're fine. Like, you can't have 0.3 of a pixel. So in the end, you need an integer. If we were doing multiple operations, we would want to keep as many digits as possible and only truncate away the decimal places at the very end. But this is all we're doing. We're just doing one operation. So this is fine. They're both integers. Character width is going to be an integer, and now we've got character width here. What else is in here? We have the character height. This is no more than the bounding box height, because we won't have yeah, we won't have changed anything. Okay, then we're going to get this digit crop. That's fine. We'll get the actual digit from the smaller image. Now we're going right down to the digit. And now we're going to pass in character width. There's no reason. Maybe we do need the character height. Okay, let's actually, this isn't cleaning up that much, is it? This is just changing things. Conceptually, though, this is a lot simpler. Height. The character height is simply the height of the rectangle we're passing in. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now this is sort of done. These are unused. These have been unused for a while. Good. 1 second here, folks. All right. So that's good. Our final number, and we're good there. So now the get digit method. Actually, the get digit method needs some love too, but in a different way. Which we will go back later and do after we're done this. So we've changed this. All we need is a rectangle. So, okay. All of these things are complaining because we no longer pass these in. However, we do need to pass in a rectangle, and right now we only have points. So one of the things we have to figure out is how we're going to provide the data to the user to change. So the configuration is this right now, the X and the Y. But this doesn't tell the whole story anymore, because we need to now supply the rightmost edge of the box. So the Y values will be the same. So we could do something like this, width, and then carry on with a, whatever. Whatever that's going to be, 185. And the idea is going to be that this is going to be, should be divisible by the number of digits. So the score is 6 digits. That should really be divisible by 6. And so we've got widths now. And I think, yeah. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to assume a 30 pixel width for now. We're not really going to assume that in real life, but I just need a value to be here. So the lines are 2, and all of these are 3. So we're going to say width is 1. No, it's 90. Okay, and then I can copy this and do this. Oh, shoot. This. This. That looks good. So the score is at this coordinate and it's this wide. Good. Okay. Fine. We have to reflect that in the model which we're using to read in this data. So that's in our settings. Now where do we... The model is here. Now these are all points. And I'm not actually... They shouldn't be points anymore. They're now some other new class that has another... I mean, we could just make them rectangles, couldn't we? For a rectangle, wait a second. Let's go back here. No. This one. I want to see how I can do this. Because if I could make it a rectangle, then I don't have to do any mapping. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to make them rectangles. And when we read them in, we're going to have to do some mapping, but that'll be okay. That mapping won't be as complicated, and it'll be away from our actual code. So width is settable, X is settable, Y is settable, and it's just height is settable. Right. So actually we're pretty good. So for our screen model, information model, all of these can be changed to rectangles. So let's just do that. Change all the points to rectangles. And do that for me, please. 17 places. Oh! Whoops. Yeah, I guess my... sure, why not? Well, I forgot T. You know, I don't like this. I don't like this being called T rectangle. What about that? T piece, J piece, L piece, I piece. That looks better. Okay, good. So those are rectangles now and not points. Now we are going to get an... Well, maybe we're not going to get it. No, we are going to get an issue. Because when we run our program now, we could actually see that. Oh, we have to remember to change test. The tests. Okay, if we run our program, now, and I think if I put a breakpoint here, it's gonna, oh, there was a build error. What? Oh, right, we gotta change all this. Okay, let's change all the underscore points to underscore piece. That will help us. Okay. Get value at wants a rectangle. Positions, T piece is now a rectangle, so we can actually, oops, just do that. See, that's better. Not X, the whole rectangle, please. Here we go. And we'll do this. And we'll go to the next one. See, this is super fun. And the next one. This. Nope, this. Okay. We done yet? Not X. Clearly, there's a lot going on here. Okay, well, we've made it a little simpler. What's wrong here? Oh, the Z piece. Right. Okay, that's fine. See, look at this. The information model now is not needed. That's what it's telling me. So I can get rid of it. And I can get rid of it here. And I think if I run this code, no. So I can get rid of all this. This is the fun part about refactoring. Now that that's all done, I can go back up to the top, and now I can look at, well, the image reducer is never read, never used. So let's get rid of that. We don't need this anymore. This isn't a thing anymore. I'm very curious about the information model, though. So I'm going to do this magic. What? Whoa. There's a shortcut in Visual Studio. You go Control M and O, and it collapses all of your regions in your file. But I guess the VirtualBox has a shortcut to like go back to the host system using Control M. Okay, well that's fine. I'm looking for the get information model. So this method to get the information model isn't actually used. I see no references and it's never used. So we're going to get rid of it. And now this is never used, so we're going to get rid of that. And now we're good. Now we're going to build this. We're going to rebuild. And we've got some failures because this is one of our tests. Get all data. What's the problem? Huh? What? The data extractor. Oh. Right. Yeah, this would have been right because we changed. Right, because the data extractor basically had all these properties as getters, and then when we go into it, we've got all this stuff. I think, and it's just complaining that why doesn't my shortcut work? It's complaining that the interface doesn't have this method. I'm trying to think why, what was it before? I mean, I can view the history of this file and go back to when I was adding the, what? It doesn't matter. I think what's, oh, right. Okay, because this is, we have to make a decision here. I have a data extractor, and my original thought was I just have a single data extractor. I pass in a bitmap. It could extract the data, and then I could give it another bitmap, and it could extract that data. So it was like a machine. The data extractor was operating on screenshots that were coming into it. But now I've switched it, and because we made the data extractor lazy load its properties, the data extractor is actually completely, you can't separate it from the screenshot anymore. If you want to do another screenshot, you need a new data extractor. So this tells me that the data extractor is now, it acts as a thing. It's like a noun of a sentence. And interfaces are more like a verb. They do things. Now, you could argue that a data extractor extracts data, but the data extractor is now synonymous pretty much with a screenshot. Okay, so I think, and this is great, our test figured it out. So what I like to do in this situation is I like to look at this and say, okay, so I got this data extractor, and I want to actually be able to create one very easily. So that's something. And I can't use an interface, because an interface using our dependency injection it's only useful if your thing that you're doing is actually acting as a verb and not a noun. That's the best way I can describe it. So data extractor really shouldn't be an interface. And because the name suggests that it could be an interface, that suggests to me that the name is wrong. So let's go back to data extractor, and this is the interface, and this is the thing. And what I'm seeing here is to create one of these, I need a bitmap, a screen reader, and some screen positions. So here we go, folks. This is a Tetris data model. Do I have a Tetris data model? Tetris data model. Oh, come on. Tetris data model. Do I have any data models? I don't know what I have. I have a screen information model. That's, yeah. Okay. So we are going to make a new model. No, we're not making a new model. This is the data extractor. This data extractor is no longer an interface. Kill that. This is a Tetris data model. I mean, of course it's Tetris. It's part of this whole thing. Nah, Tetris data model. Yes, I also want to rename the class. That's fine. This is a Tetris data model. This is how you build one. That's fine. Okay, this is no longer a thing that we need anymore. I don't need an interface for a data model. I really don't. So we'll just dump that. This is no longer part of that. We're going to move it into the models folder. And now this this namespace is going to be wrong. So let's change it from .data extraction to .models. Okay. But what we do need is we need a model factory. And I think that's what we're going to make next. Let's collapse all this. Because I can't just new up a Tetris data model because I need a screen reader and the screen positions that are read from the app settings at the boot up of the program. Because the idea is with inversion of control is you don't really new up any objects. You just let everything happen. And if you need to pass in a value through a constructor to make a new object like a data model, but you also need to pass in other things, then what you do is you make a factory. And we're going to make a factory here. And a factory, we're going to call it Tetris data model factory. There's nothing special about a factory. It is an interface, and all we're going to do is Tetris data model create from a bitmap. So now I can create a data model just by passing in a screenshot. And the way this works is when we actually implement the factory, Okay, so now this implements that interface, and we're going to be able to create one of these things. But we're going to need a screen reader. And that's data model agnostic. That's fine. It doesn't matter which one is used for which model. And we also need the screen positions that we get from the app settings. This will come into the constructor. I should spell that properly. And we'll get in the screen positions. Okay. Sure. We'll do that one first. Screen reader. No, let's do that. Okay. So now we can return a new Tetris data model using the screenshot that we pass in, but now we can use the screen reader and the screen positions. Okay, so now we can create one of these things using the factory, and they're going to tell me I can make these read-only, and they'll be absolutely correct. I have to go into my registration module though. Yeah, I do not need to implement or register a Tetris data model, but I do need to register the factory. So we'll start registering that factory. And now actually in my tests, which I'm kind of using as a mini program just to make sure I got everything right. Yeah, we're not going to resolve the data extractor. We're gonna data model factory. Oh yeah, we're gonna resolve the Tetris data model factory. And instead of doing all this, we are going to data model factory dot create, and that's going to be that, and that's going to be that, and that'll be fine. So the data stays as a Tetris data model, which has all of these things, and that's good. I do have an issue up here in my using statements because that's not a namespace anymore. Don't really need that. My Tetris data extractor, and we got rid of the data extraction namespace. Feels bad. Okay, does this work now? Don't clean the solution. Rebuild the solution. Let's see. No, I still got problems in my registration module. Well, it wants to reference that namespace that doesn't exist anymore. What else? That doesn't, this is the actual program itself, and of course, oh, yeah, we're not actually, yeah, okay. Okay, we'll data Tetris data model factory. No, that's fine. So that will show that up, and then var data model equals the data model factory dot create. And I just need a bitmap. That's all I need. It kind of simplifies that, even though this isn't doing anything. And the data model dot number. Okay, so now did I get rid of all my errors? All of my errors. It all succeeded. So now the thing now is I don't have the width. You know, the what I was saying before was that it was 32 pixels wide. I think if I go back to my Tetris data model, if I look at the, the history of this file, you gonna show me the history? No, of course not, because I renamed you. Ugh. I think it was 32. I think it was 32. Well, this is when we go like this. We save everything. No! Different shortcuts for different computers. The status, we'll just add git commit refactoring, and we're gonna check out the master branch again. So now this is what I had at the start of the video, because I want to go into the data extractor, which is now the Tetris data model. The number of columns was 32F. So I was doing the arithmetic. I was passing in, what was I passing in? I was using, oh yeah, this was gross. The digit width was the reduced width divided by the number of, I don't even know anymore. That's something for later. So I think Yeah. So we're going to go back to my refactoring data extractor branch. Everything compiles. Nothing's going to work because we don't have... let me think here. Oh, right. Right. Yeah, these widths are not right. But what else? The other thing we don't have is the program has to convert these into rectangles. And actually, we should, while I see this, change those. And if we go here, we can actually, let's put a breakpoint here. We can actually run this. Actually, folks, we can run this. I know, it's amazing. It's amazing. And we can go into here. Parameters not valid. What? What are you talking about? Oh, maybe this isn't oh yeah, look at this. This is a Unix path. We're in Windows, so I didn't change that. But what I can do is I can hover over my data factory here, and I can see the screen positions. Screen positions are here. And so you'll see it correctly got the XY coordinates. It got the width, but the height is 0 because we never specified the height. So we actually need to do something a little bit more intelligent when we register the app settings. So we're going to add this, and then we're going to have to figure that out next time because our time is done. So, yes, next time we will get the settings to create the full rectangle with the height. And wait a second. What am I thinking? There's absolutely no height information here. How would we possibly be able to get the height? We need a height. We need another bug. We need another parameter here. And I don't know what the height... So what we could do is we could add a height to each one of these things, or we could have just a main height outside of them all that they all share. But I kind of think, you know, looking at where I was and where I ended up in my philosophy on what to leave up to the configuration, I think we're going to add the height to each individual piece. And that's automatically going to make our rectangle be a thing we can use. But also, if we have to tweak anything, let's let everything get tweaked separately. We could add we could do something like this. Digit height and make it like 30. And then everything would use digit height unless you specified otherwise. So then if, you know, the Z piece we wanted to be a different height for some reason, and anything else, we could do something like that. Oops. But I think we're good with just specifying height for everything. We could go either way. I think we'll add height to it. But first we got to figure out what the height is. So think we'll be doing some more GIMP stuff next time to figure out what the height of my pieces are in GIMP, and then we'll figure out the right widths, and then we'll try and run our tests again and see what happens. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Have a nice day, and we will see you next time.